Western Australia is a vast place. The WA4WD team loves to get out into the bush. Often we are hunting for old bottles and relics around the woodlines, or we are visiting old mining areas and ghost towns. If we can hear someone else, then we are not far enough away. Have a look at these aerial images of some of the remote places we have visited. The lakes in the distance are like most lakes in WA. They are dry with a surface of salt and more often than not a very muddy subsurface that is dangerous to drive on. Somewhere in here we are camped. Now this is real isolation. The woodlines were used to cart the cut wood from the bush to Kalgoorlie for use in the mines. Over a period of nearly 80 years, vast tracts of land were completely cleared of wood. It is amazing to see the regrowth, but it has taken nearly 100 years in some places. Around the woodlines we hunt for the old railway tracks. Many times we are able to locate the old horse yards. Only occasionally do we use them as campsites, as sometimes they are full of horrible prickles. This horse yard was found during some of the motorbike explorations. There was no track to it, so a route was worked out and the vehicles were carefully driven in. Woodline campsites are about 4 or 5 kilometres apart. Once on the bikes we can follow the old tracks and hopefully end up at one of those campsites. This one was one of the larger ones we had found in the area, and we are now about 6 kilometres away from our base camp. This old formation led to a small lake and further south to more campsites. Some of them were very, very remote. The lake had a small amount of water, so we had to divert to cross at another place, but it was very muddy. Once over the lake, it is possible to see the small section of land where the railway line was built. It is hard to believe that this section was constructed nearly a century ago without any of the modern machines or tools now in use. These lakes will be visible as we go further south to look for another campsite, almost 6 kilometres from here. We are nearly 15 kilometres from our base camp. We have lost radio comms by this stage and have been away for almost 3 hours. This is the furthest we will go on this trip, and this one is another pretty big camp. We found bottles and artefacts scattered all through this area. Remember the lakes I mentioned before? They can be seen at the top right. Now you can see how big this place is and how truly isolated it has become. But during the woodline days, people lived out here with none of the conveniences we have today. This is the Hatter Hill mining area. This site has been mined on and off for decades. Frank Hand mentioned he found prospectors out here when he passed through. and that was in 1902. We searched for a lost grave for some time, but we never found it. The area around Lillian Stokes Rock has been devastated by bushfire, but remarkably there are signs of recovery. We searched around for a rock hole at Digger Rocks. The drone didn't help much. But we did find a small dam that had been constructed by early prospectors many years ago.